Lake Forest podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, JM, and Paul G. Hello.
Good morning.
We have Aaron, we have Jeff, we have Bobby, we have Sally.
Was this romper room?
I can see Jeff.
Morning, boys.
Jeff, how's the parade going?
I don't think it started yet. Maybe it did. I don't know. I see a lot of people going by, though.
Those doors are wide open. You're going to collect all that business today, right?
Oh, not worried about it. Yeah, it'll be good.
Joe, who's this young man you brought on the show?
Well, this is, you remember Harry Porterfield used to have those segments on TV, Someone You Should Know?
Yeah.
Well, this is Someone You Should Know. Aaron Delmar. Aaron, I don't even know where to begin describing Aaron. He's done so many different things.
I'm a varsity hire. That's why they got me on today. They wanted to,
representing
representing
the Filipino American community.
Got to represent that 0.05%.
But no, Aaron. I've known Aaron for 15 years, and I know Jeff has known Aaron as well. Aaron is the Cook County Republican Party chairman. He's also, let me make sure I get all your titles in here. You're also the Palatine Republican Party chairman. You're the Palatine Township Highway Commissioner. You're on the Illinois Republican State Central Committee, and I think at one time you were the co-chair of the Illinois Republican Party. You ran for lieutenant governor 4 years ago with Gary Rabine. And you've been a delegate to the Republican National Convention for President Trump. Am I missing stuff there? And you're an entrepreneur and business guy, and just
I got an army of
great guy.
kids.
Nobody knows
people.
Gallagher like this guy.
That's right.
And the reason we have Aaron on is he is coming to Lake Forest. Let me make sure I get the date right. It
August
is
19th.
August 19th at Duffers, a place Mr. Urso is quite familiar with. For the Shields Township Republican Party meet and greet. It's going to be at 6:30 p.m. It is free. Get that, Pete? Free.
Free. Is that
Free
true, Jeff?
pizza.
That free pizza, beer, everything at Duffers, is that right? Top
Hey,
shelf?
I'm charging someone, and Republican, Democrat, everyone's welcome to book a party here. So we take everyone's money. It's all green.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, but yeah, they do ask that you RSVP ahead of time on their website,
All
which
right,
is
Aaron, I'm coming.
Let's
Shields
do it,
Township
man.
GOP. Please RSVP so Jeff knows how many pizzas to put in the microwave. I mean the oven. Uh, Duffers. Shields Township GOP.com, and you can register on their website just so they get a head count for Mr. Urso. But Aaron, so let's talk about the elections coming up. Some news here in Lake County with on the Democratic side, at least, Lake County Treasurer Holly Kim is not running for reelection because she is running for Illinois Comptroller because Susanna Mendoza is not running for that and is probably going to run for mayor of Chicago. And as a result of that, Sandy Hart, who we kind of know what here, she doesn't represent Lake Forest, but she represents Lake Bluff, where she lives, and ran against our friend Ben Grum last year. She's going to run for Lake County Treasurer. So there's a lot of shakeup and stuff, a lot of movement. You know, Durbin's not running again for U.S. Senate, so that opened a lot of stuff up, other stuff. So what's going on now? We're hearing about all the Democrats. What's going on the Republican side? Can you give us a snapshot here?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Democrats are playing musical chairs, right? Durbin set off a chain of reaction of Juliana Stratton going over from lieutenant governor over to running for Senate, which triggered Raja to run for Senate, which left the eighth open, which then you had, several other congressmen jumping into those races, leaving open seats all over the state, which then triggered other commissioners, board members, state representatives to jump for those seats, and their seats are open. So the Democrats have really given us a target-rich environment to be able to possibly pick up a couple seats. The political wins are challenging in 2026. As you know, every cycle when you have one party that has control of all three levels of government, like we do in the White House, Congress, and Senate, there's kind of a pendulum swing back. And with that, though, I think that with the economy, with some of the things that President Trump is doing, I think we look solid to be able to put up a pretty strong wall against that blue so-called wave. And you're seeing a lot of movement on the grassroots side of people running. Now, at the top of the ticket, I think we still need some more players, right? I mean, you see Mendoza running for mayor. That's her signal. She said before that she's not going to run for two offices at the same time while she occupies one. And now you're seeing, Holly Kim, you're seeing Croker, Representative Croker from Chicago jumping into these races. The Democrats are doing one thing for sure. They're raising the cost of media through this next cycle. And I think that is a challenge for some Republicans because when Raja Krishnamurthy is spending $19 million running for Senate, he's buying up a lot of ad space, airspace, and it's going to be challenging for a lot of us to be able to, define ourselves versus the Democrats. And I think, we have some strong headwinds in positive areas, and we have some challenges ahead of us as well.
So as you mentioned, the midterms, traditionally the party that controls the White House doesn't do well in midterms, but the last midterms, 2022, Biden was president, and the Democrats did have a good run. So it's not impossible. And I think back when George W. Bush was president, his first midterm, the Republican Party did well. Now it was post 9/11, of course, but yeah. So it's not impossible. It has happened before, right?
It's not impossible. And what you're seeing on a national scale of, some of the different states like Texas taking a page out of the Illinois playbook and gerrymandering their congressional districts, like J.B. Pritzker gerrymandered ours to pick up 5 more congressional seats. If we start doing that all across the nation, right, then I think that also provides us with a competitive advantage. I think it's hilarious that, our rotunda of a governor decides to come in and house Democrats from Texas when we have enough Democrats being housed here already. And talking about how gerrymandering is so negative, especially when he ran in his first term, talking about fair and independent maps. And then he goes and signs one of the most gerrymandered maps in Illinois history. And that alone tells you a lot there. And now he's pointing fingers at Governor Abbott for trying to level the playing field nationally.
So what's really
Hold
weird?
on. Aaron and Joe, you guys are doing a lot of inside baseball here. And look, I voted for Trump. Ain't nobody going to tell me anything otherwise who to vote for in the future. Okay, JD. Okay, I already know who I'm voting for. Okay, you got me.
Sure.
You're preaching to the choir. But what all this stuff that's going on that's getting caught up in the news cycles, for instance, like these redistricting maps, like what the hell is going on? I hear about this every couple of years. What
Yeah,
it,
so it's supposed to be every 10 years. It's supposed to be every 10 years after the census. They go and they reevaluate the maps because populations change. So in 2030, Illinois has had so many people fleeing Illinois to go to red states that we're going to lose a congressional district because we don't have enough population. In 2020, we lost a congressional seat, and that trend is going to continue as J.B. Pritzker drives people out of our state. And what happens is when you redistrict, they try to create these maps to hold control of the seats. So you can take a look at everybody that lives in that area and you can see traditionally what primary do they pull, right? Do they pull a Democratic primary, Republican primary? And then what they try to do is they try to draw these circles like little lassos around as many Democrats to, and a few Republicans to try to divide them up. So each of the areas are heavily Democratic and not Republican enough. So we can't.
Hold on, Aaron. How are they doing that? Like, is it like a big whiteboard and they're just
That's exactly right. They get out a big map.
Okay.
And they start. They do a heat map on top of it that says, "Hey, this is the blue areas are Democrat, red areas are Republican. All right, we have a huge area of Republicans. There's so many concentrated Republicans in one area. Let's go chop it up into 5 congressional districts so we can dilute it." And that's what they do.
Okay,
right. So Illinois is 44% Republican. 44% Republican, but we only control 3 out of 17 congressional districts. So about 18% Republican congressmen from Illinois, when we actually have 44% representation of it. If they drew the maps fair and independent and consolidated, we would control probably about six or 7 of those 17 congressional houses, which would change it. But they're not going to do that.
So we're screwed.
They're playing dirty pool. Well, we're not screwed. I mean, in 2030, when we do the new census, well, if we can get out of the super minority in either the Illinois House or the Illinois Senate, and we can take the governor's mansion, we can veto, was what Pritzker said he was going to do, and then we can, generationally change Illinois. Because let's be honest, the Republicans, when we were in charge, we used to do the exact same thing, right? We would make as many Republican districts as we could. And then when Big John Thompson, and then when you started seeing some of our guys get locked up and the Democrats took control of the mapping process, well, then that shifted everything. And then it shifted all the preaching jobs. And now Republicans are relatively irrelevant in Illinois unless we can find some strong leadership and people that got a little bit of moxie to start shoving back against our big governor.
But I think that number you mentioned, Aaron, was it 44 or 45%?
Trump picked up 44% of Illinois in 2020.
He did. I mean, look, he still lost it. And it's, the way the Electoral College works, you either win it or you lose it for each state. So he did lose Illinois, but he did better than he's done in the past. And, I heard an old line once from somebody saying, what's the difference between Illinois and Iowa? And the answer is Chicago. So in other words, if you took Chicago out of the state, which is not going to happen. I know our friends in Southern Illinois want to split off into a separate state, but I doubt that'll ever happen. But
Trump won two aldermanic wards. I mean, that hasn't happened since Ronald Reagan, right? He picked up 2 Chicago wards. Obviously, that was a high concentration of police and firemen, blue collar jobs, right? But that's not something that we've seen. He overperformed in 2024 by 700,000 votes than he did in 2020. The other thing that I think is interesting to mention is that, and again, I know they're different cycles, but Donald Trump got more votes than J.B. Pritzker did when he ran for governor in his last cycle in 22. Do you know what I mean? He got 340,000 more votes. So if we can get Republicans out there, Trump voters out there in the cycle, J.B. Pritzker is going to be toast. I mean,
so in other words, so in other words, what you're saying is if everybody who voted for Donald Trump in 2024 shows up in 2026 and votes for whoever the Republican nominee is for governor, Pritzker's done?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because you have to understand, in Illinois, like you mentioned, Chicago, you only have to win 27% of Cook County. All the rest of the counties don't matter. And I know people from DuPage and people from all across in Saginaw County say that that's not true. It is true.
And Lake County.
The Lake County too, right? And Lake Forest. If every person that has ever won statewide has garnered over 27% of Cook County, because that's where the population is. Bruce Rauner did it. Judy Barker Pinka did it. Dan Rutherford did it. That's really the number. So you don't even have to win Chicago. You just got to get 27% of the vote, and the rest of the 102 counties of Illinois will lift you up. I mean, out of 102 counties in Illinois, right, 92 of them are ruby red Republican. Ruby red. So, I mean, people forget about that, right?
Even
we do have opportunities.
People forget
Trump
this.
won McHenry.
McHenry is a solid red county, and it's not.
What we need is the people in Lake Forest to start dropping checks to the Republican Party, right? You guys spend $1,000 at dinner and wine, but then you don't drop $1,000 on your state representative.
Preach it, Aaron.
And then you get mad about who you have. You know what I mean? Some far left lunatic that represents you in Springfield or in Washington,
Bob Morgan,
right?
Wait, hold on. How do we get into this mess? Because we had who was that last Republican guy that did nothing? Governor.
Well, that's a pretty wide spectrum of people. You got to give me a year to go with that question.
Who's the last Republican governor? Rauner.
Oh, Darren Bailey. Are you talking about Darren?
Darren
I'm talking about Rauner.
Rauner.
He went in and didn't do anything. And
he's a Madigan.
Well,
no, hold on. Inside baseball, guys. I just want to know what is going on, because it happened. Okay, we got a Republican in and we didn't do anything with it. And then
what you had a Republican that's a bazillionaire, and look how well that's turned out for us in the last couple of cycles. Because when you get these guys that have never been in the system, that have never really started from the bottom up to know where the corruption and waste and all the rest of it's at, right? They're living on their high white ivory tower. They don't really know how to govern.
Yeah,
right?
but hold on, Aaron.
But couldn't you say that about Trump?
Hold on. but then I look at voter turnout, and Republicans are lazy asses. So what's the problem?
Well, nobody's inspiring. I mean, if you look at Darren Bailey, Darren Bailey was the perfect.
Wait, hold on, Aaron. Inspiring to not have Pritzker, that's pretty inspiring. So what is the issue?
The issue is that if you take a look at what the Republican Party's messaging has been and the Democratic Party's message has been, we've been getting blown out of the water, right? We're over here talking about being fiscal conservatives. We're talking about being social conservatives, and the Democrats are handing out candy to each and everybody that walks by, right? It's like Halloween every day for all these people. And you take a look at that. Then you have all the different people that live in your neck of the woods over Lake Forest that feel bad about being successful. And they're like, oh, my God, my family did well. And, oh, we should be so ashamed of ourselves. We need to give money to everybody else. And, oh, our children should be ashamed that they grew up. You know what I mean? And nice stuff. I mean, like, all you people should be doing in Lake Forest is saying thank you. Thank you, America, so we can live in our big, beautiful houses and have a safe community and be in one of the top 3 places to live in the United States where there's no crime.
But why aren't they voting?
They're not. I mean, most of the hardcore Republicans are like you, me, the strong conservatives. In April election, the consolidated election, everywhere got blown out because people were like, hey, you know what? Donald Trump's there. He's deporting everybody. He's got Doge out there. They're cutting the government. We love it. They forgot that there's local elections. They just sat at home because they were so happy. They became complicit, and they don't understand that, you know what I mean? Freedom is not bought, it's rented, and you have to fight for it every cycle. You have to come out every race and do it. And if you don't take out their stupid person at library board, that person's going to be your next state rep. He's going to be your next governor, right? Because that's their farm team. And they just sit at home and they're like happy, because it used to be local politics dictates national. Now it's the reverse, and national is dictating local.
Well, they also did a great job of the permanent absentee list, where you can, because of COVID and all this, they got all their voters to sign up for the permanent absentee list. So they get mailed an absentee ballot every election.
Every cycle. If you look at the math, they beat us 12-1 in absentee ballots. On early voting, it's 1-1. And if we have a hailstorm on election day, we're getting blown out, right? Because nobody comes out and votes on that cycle. I mean, if you can get somebody, for example, here, Jeff, how old are you?
40.
Right. If I can get Jeff to sign by permanent vote by mail, and Jeff's going to live to 80, I get 40 years of Jeff voting each and every cycle, right? If his bar's on fire on election day, it doesn't matter. He's already voted. If he's out having a baby or a grandkid or whatever age he's at, we got his vote locked in. I mean, that's a huge value. But Republicans are so paranoid. They're like, oh, the voter fraud. I mean, there's voter fraud, but it's not like everybody thinks. Nobody's showing up with a dump truck and backing up and dropping voters. They're dropping 4 or 5 at every election booth. I mean, if you want to fight voter fraud, you sign up to be a poll watcher, right? But it's not exciting. You don't want to give up your whole day. You just want to do the fancy stuff.
Why don't we spend our marketing dollars on that versus pushing these people that probably...
Well, because then the consultants don't get paid. I mean, let's think about this for a second. You keep thinking that this is a fair system. This is a cottage industry, my friend, okay? You have consultants that go out there and they look for candidates, selling them a bunch of snake oil and said, hey, you could be the next governor of Illinois. You could be the next congressman. You need to put $2 million in your account. I'll take 30% and we'll see what happens. Right? I mean, all over the place. Look at Richard Irving, $55 million from Ken Griffin. His consultant walked away with $15 million. They didn't care. They get paid by missile launched, not by missile landed. I mean, it's all over the place. And then what happens is the candidates get blown out, and then they're like, well, the party never supported me. They don't want to do it again. They go away. And then the next person to run for that office is like, I don't want to do that. Look what happened to Joe Weiss. I don't want that to happen to me. I'm going to sit it out.
So politicians, they're all full of shit. All right, let's just say that.
Except for Aaron.
I got a question for Aaron.
Go ahead.
Why? So, in the consolidated election, we have a lot of nonpartisan parties run, right?
That's all bullshit. They're all partisan. I don't care what anybody says. They're not partisan.
But I'm saying the rules are different, correct?
Well, what do you mean by that?
So, like to run, to run for on
school board or library
Democrat
board
or Republican,
right?
You need X amount of votes. If you run as an independent or nonpartisan, you need more signatures to get.
In consolidated elections, there's what you're basically saying. It doesn't signify if you're Republican or Democrat next to your name like it does in other races, right? And so then you have to have a certain signature requirement. You know what I mean, to go out and do it. And you leverage that against, if you're not an affiliated party like Republican or Democrat, like for Townships example, those are partisan even in off cycles. The petition requirement, the signature requirement's way higher. Just like they're doing now. I mean, petitions started yesterday in Illinois all across. And if you're a Republican, you needed no less than 3%, no more than 5%. But if you're an independent or Green Party, whatever, you got 10 times the amount of signatures. And that's by design because Republicans and Democrats don't want anybody coming in and spoiling it. I mean, the system's totally rigged. You just got to know where the rigging's at.
And that I think is honestly the problem, right? I mean, my generation isn't too far behind anyone else's, but I'm saying like 40 and under. I always tell people I'm not a blood, I'm not a Crip. I don't vote in primaries, right?
So, we shoot at everybody, right?
Yeah. I want
everybody's money.
I want everyone to earn my vote every time. And you know what? Sometimes go one way, sometimes go the other. So it's irrelevant. But the problem is that both Democrats and Republicans have really just hunkered down on this to even get on the ballot. And I agree with Aaron. What he's saying is local politics is what no one pays attention to. And that is by far the most important thing for everyone to stand up. And most of those issues aren't partisan issues. I mean, we're not talking about national crazy left, crazy right things. I mean, it comes down to you're a highway commissioner. It comes down to how do you want to run your roads, how much money to invest in your community, et cetera. So that's where I think Republicans, I mean, just my opinion, could win over people is by saying, hey, let's get back down to basics.
But here's the thing, I'll tell you this. You know what? I'm going to blame Lake Forest for one of the biggest problems, if not the largest problem in Illinois politics, is because you guys house one of the biggest donor of Illinois Republican politics in your great city. Right? I'm not going to name him because the guy's got so much money. I don't even show it up.
We all know who it is.
We know what I'm talking about, right? So
he just sponsored Lake Forest Day.
Yeah, correct. He
dictates. Not sponsor me. I don't give a shit.
Right. He dictates who runs. He dictates who runs and who wins in Illinois now because Ken Griffin left and Jack Roser passed away. These are two big donors, if you don't know who those names are, that would just lock money. And so now Dick Uihlein, there's two billionaires that call the shots in Illinois. One's J.B. Pritzker. He picks and chooses who's run for whatever it is. If you want to be a state rep, it may not be him personally, but one of his people is vetting you and checking you out on the Democratic side. On the Republican side, if you want a prayer to win in Illinois, you better make your homage to Lake Forest and kiss the ring of Dick Uihlein in order to get that money. That's if you can get through his 4 gatekeepers that pretty much hate everybody else and want to light the whole Republican Party on fire, right? And just watch it burn and then extract, 20 or 30% for their time, right? They got to be compensated.
Wait, hold on, Aaron. Is Uihlein Republican or not? Because I hear that
he's Republican. He is a hard Republican, but he's also 80-some years old. and he's got the 4 gatekeepers that tell him what checks to sign and what checks not to sign. Do you think
So
he's over there asking ChatGPT, is this a good Republican or a bad Republican? No, he asks these 4 people that tell him who's good, who's bad, who's Baba Yaga, who's the boogeyman, and how much check to write and where to send it to. And those 4 people control that until, Dick retires or passes away or whatever. And then the Illinois Republican Party can go back to having a fair and equal system where everyone's vote matters.
What? Okay. So,
I mean, you guys asked the wrong guy to get on your show today. I hope you guys.
No, it's the right guy.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm calling.
I wouldn't talk about his politics, but I will make a positive plug, though, that his wife has spent a lot of money in Lake Forest improving a lot of things.
She's done an amazing job, but they don't vote. They don't give the same way.
She votes Democrat, doesn't she?
No, not even that. She'll donate to one candidate. He'll donate to the other on those things. I mean, you can go look it up in Sunshine Laws, and you can look it up. And I've met them both. I think they're great human beings. I don't like their gatekeepers. Their gatekeepers don't like me. I mean, they want to use me as a human punching bag, but that's okay. I fight back, right? I mean, that's one thing I like about the other 3 guys in this podcast is we're not walking quietly into the night, right? We're here to fight. We're here to make our move. And that's the problem is that Illinois is full of a bunch of Republicans that just like to go to Lincoln Day dinners and they like to, talk about Trump and wear the red MAGA hat. When it comes time to fight, when it comes to knock on doors, when it comes to being a poll watcher and all the stuff that's not fancy, that's not exciting, that they can't take a selfie with and post it on Facebook of how great a Republican they are, they don't want to do that stuff. And that's why we get our ass kicked.
Aaron, you got an opening for Gen Z now. How are we going to take advantage of it, these young kids to come in and
Dude, the Gen Z are our base and our people. They're watching Joe Rogan. They're watching Charlie Kirk. Like my kids are watching that, even though that without me, because if I tell them anything, my kids are like, immediately it's not cool. So I stay out of the political stuff for them. And they're like, Dad, you see what Rogan said? You see what Charlie Kirk said? He's roasting him. He's cooking them. I'm like, what do you mean he's cooking them? Right? They got their own little vernacular that they're using. That is our base. And if you look at what Trump did in 24, he activated them like Obama did back in 2008, and we start winning elections. But the problem here in Illinois is that when we see new and upcoming people like Jeff are like, hey, Jeff's getting excited. He's getting energized. He's becoming part of the Republican Party. You know what they do to him? They try to take him out because they're worried Jeff's going to try to take their seat, right? We don't mentor our people and have a farm team. We start eating our young and trying to kill princes in the cradle.
Wait, what the hell does that mean?
Right. You try to get them while they're young so they can't come out and take you later because there's so scarcity of Republican seats available. Anybody that's an up and comer or the establishment group tries to take them out. I mean, look at me. If you go to any Republican event, you go to anywhere, Lake Forest and Palatine, anywhere, it looks like a scene from Cocoon.
It's
right?
Lake Forest place, yeah.
Right. It's because they're all old people. Right, it's like a geriatric person handing out.
How do we stop that, Aaron? Because that's what I saw the last time I went on one of these events. The dude was like 8 years old, and he's talking like
you guys. They're all white. They all look like you. They're like when I walk in the joint, they're like, "Who let the Mexican in?" Right? They tell my mother, you know what I mean? Did he bring a pinata? What's going on with this guy? And it's funny. We laugh at it, right? I mean, but I've worked up my way up the scale. I'm like. They're like, you speak Spanish, you can talk to the Latino community. I'm like, look, dude, I'm Filipino. It's a different color rice, my friend, right? Different part of the world, pal. But that's fine. It's okay. I mean,
hold on, Aaron. So Gen Z, why don't we just spend all of our energy harnessing that power to get them to get off of their ass? Because old farts like us aren't voting for whatever reason.
It's because they have an attention span of a mosquito. Right. I mean, that's it. Right. You constantly have to be giving them cookies and nuggets to keep them engaged. Right. You're like, OK, this is exciting. All right. Next thing, because they're in reels. Right. The rest of us watch movies. These kids watch 15 reels a second. Snap, snap. They're getting their doses of media in 5-second snips. Right. I mean. Right. And that's how, yes, exactly. And TikTok, right, which is being monitored by China and everybody else. And they're targeting all of our people. But that's what happens. If you look at your people in Lake Forest, I mean, you have a community that could really make exponential change across Illinois if they got excited, because the amount of concentrated wealth that you have outside of Dick Uihlein, again, is there. Right. But there's nobody there that is saying, hey, look, let's do the hard stuff. Let's do the stuff that's not exciting and fancy, and let's build infrastructure. They think that they're going to support candidates. Candidates come and go. They need to be supporting processes and developing, a base so you can repeat the same cycle without having to change. The infrastructure should be the same regardless of who the candidate is. and nobody's concentrating on that.
So if a kid came up to you, say he's a high school senior, and says, "Mr.
Right.
Delmar, I want to get involved in politics," what would your recommendation to him or her
I would
be?
tell them to move to Tennessee, Nevada, to move to Florida. I'd like, hey, go to school and go move over there. Because if you're a Republican in Illinois, you're going to be human punching bag. See, the rest of us, we're masochists. We like getting punched at, right? I mean, think about this. Let's be candid. I'm considering running for statewide office, right? I mean, that's something that I'm looking at. I know Joe was probably going to mention that, and I'm sort of thinking, let's take a look. Do I want to go out there? Why do I want to do this? No, I love punching people. If you haven't figured that out, right? You can see
You
the belts
actually
behind
literally
me.
did punch.
Yeah, I was a
You were
UFC
what?
fighter. Right. I fought
Yeah.
MMA 13 times, right? So people ask me, they're like, how can you run for a statewide office when there's videos of you punching and kicking the people in cages? And I tell them that makes me uniquely qualified to be a Republican in Illinois, right?
That
Because
makes me more
that's what you
likely
have
to
be.
vote for you.
Yeah, especially I'm like, yeah, with Trump going to Rogan and they're going to UFC. All right. I
Aaron
mean, that just
Delmar is literally going to fight for your
yeah,
wallet.
that washes away a ton of my sins, right? I gotta love Trump. He washes anything negative that anybody ever said about me before when I was in my 20s, right? What was ever on MySpace has now been washed away because Trump did it better than I did. But you're like, hey, let's go spend a bunch of your own money. Let's go ask all your friends and family and beg them for money to give to you. Go to donors, kiss a bunch of rings so you can raise this money. Take 15 months of your life, not working on your business, not hanging with your family, to go fight the richest elected official in Illinois. And most people are like, that job sucks, so we're not going to do it. And I'm like, hey, where do I sign up for that party? Right? Because that sounds like fun. Because I like to engage with JV. I think that he's beatable. And everyone's like, there's no way he's got millions of dollars. But those millions of dollars have a diminishing return, right? After you spend 10 million, like you're 11, you're 14, 15, 20, it doesn't do that much
He
different,
has
right?
spent $250 million. That's a B, billion.
Yeah.
$250 million to be governor of Illinois. And it is so obvious to me, and I hope to everyone, he is simply running for a third term to prep himself to run in 2028 for president of the United States.
Well,
So
that quarter of
if
a billion just matches his grocery fund, right? I mean, the guy's hungry, right? People have needs. I mean, I had a reporter ask me, they're like, Aaron, you're thinking about running for governor against JB Pritzker? I'm like, yeah, I'm considering it. And they're like, well, is there anything that you and JB Pritzker could agree on? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, what? I'm like, who doesn't love a good buffet, right? They didn't find that funny, but this is Illinois, right? We got to be able to have a good time and punch and fight. And that's
Aaron,
what I'm trying to tell people. Like, you got to punch back. I mean, you should have seen this reporter, right, from WGN. Her eyes about popped out of her head, right? Because she doesn't take a joke. But you know what? It played on TV. We got earned media out of it. And that's the kind of unconventional campaign that we need to have and start punching and whacking and shoving back.
Well, why
all
are
right,
we
I would
wasting?
love to see you in a.
Hold on,
All right.
Aaron. Why are we wasting our energy on that? Because I think the greater value is to get people to register and vote versus attacking and doing this other stuff because
Well,
it's a
if
lazy
you don't
Republican
attack,
town.
if you don't light on the waste, fraud, and corruption that happens, you can't engage with people. And again, nobody, people say, well, Aaron, it's very small of you to make a fat joke. You should, if you want to be governor, you should have more class. It's not very gubernatorial. And my answer to that is like, we need to shake this party up. We are a party that's been paralyzed, doesn't know where to go left, doesn't know where to go right, forward, or backwards. And it just stays there every cycle. So I'd rather go forward and make a mistake and then change the trajectory than just sit around being paralyzed, not doing anything. And getting people out to vote is a symptom of getting strong candidates or at least getting people excited. Look at Donald Trump was, like him or don't like him, he was a generational personality, and he is somebody that got people out. Democrats, Republicans, they don't even care, right? They came out and voted. A ton of Democrats came out and voted for Trump.
So let me go over the political system the way that I see it. I mean, again, I'm voting for Trump. Ain't nobody going to say anything, or JD Vance, or whoever is going to be anybody that has a clue about business. Because what I can tell you is, Democrats, liberals don't know anything about business. Feelings don't feed the bank account. Okay, so give me anybody that's run a business before, not somebody that's been handed a business, but actually started one up from scratch. But starting with the Democrats, what I see is just going with Holly Kim, who I'm very down on the way I've seen this process go. You don't need to be a financial wizard to be a treasurer or a comptroller, right? You just need to vote.
I think we lost Aaron here
no, I don't think the budget covered the internet. So give me,
Pritzker cut your internet. Did
You
Pritzker
guys
cut your
got mad at my
internet
rhyme.
again?
You took me out. What did you try to cancel me over there, Pete? I'm not going to be canceled, man. You can't cancel somebody that doesn't care.
I think Pete was just asking about, taking it back here to Lake County and Lake Forest, but Lake County, Holly Kim. So
Right.
we had Holly on a couple times on this show. She's a very entertaining guest, and
tells you
but
what you want to
then
hear, like a
but
Yeah.
politician.
then Pete, she made the cardinal sin of protesting outside the Tesla dealership in Libertyville,
Yeah, I
and
call that friendly fire, right? You know what
No,
I mean?
no, hold on, Joe. I don't care. You can protest, but to whip up a base for a made up event, I have an issue with that. There's so much good that can be done, but to whip up a base to go against cutting government waste, that just doesn't make sense.
But
And it's,
look, but Pete, it makes sense now because she is running in a Democratic primary against Margaret Croak,
Croak,
who was
yeah.
a state legislator that used to work for Pritzker. So I have if Pritzker weighs in on that race, then good luck to Holly on that. But if so, she's playing to the base by or whip. Now she wasn't playing to the independents because she used to play to independents here in Lake County. But now she knows I've got a contested Democratic primary, so I need to play to the base of the Democratic Party. So what better than to protest, Donald Trump and or Elon Musk?
but they make up things. Like seriously, just make up issues to get whip people up, and it's just such wasted energy. I've seen it myself
No, they're
being
creating
there.
leverage. That's what they're doing. I mean, that's by design, my friend. Right? They're like, hey, we got nothing going on over here. We want to raise, we want to differentiate ourselves from our opponent in whatever primary it is. So let's go have a no kings rally. Let's rally at everybody up. Look at their pitchforks and torches out there and see what kind of trouble we can get into.
Where did the Kings come from?
Oh my God. Are you
I'm serious.
yeah,
Well,
they're
I think
talking
Trump
about Trump the
himself.
King, right? Which is
I
funny
think
because
Trump himself said that at one point in one
oh
of
yeah,
his tweets or
it's
whatever.
these guys are insane. I mean, it's funny. They're so on the 20% of the 80% scale. They're targeting all of the issues that nobody cares about except a very small percentage. And
Well,
I can't understand why we can't win.
Lake
And again,
Forest moms don't want a guy in the girls' locker room.
well,
That
they're afraid. Yeah, they think that, but they're afraid to say it. They're afraid to put a lawn sign out that says "keep it out" because they're afraid of getting canceled by everybody else, and they're going to be like, "Oh, you're going to be hated." I mean, look, when this was happening in District 211, we were the first school district that had it. I went to my daughters. I wasn't going to anybody else. I'm like, "Hey, how do you feel about this?" And my kids were like, my daughters are like, "Look, we don't even feel comfortable being naked around other women or other girls because we're 16 and 17. You know what I mean? We go into different stalls. It would make me incredibly uncomfortable. I'm like, if you're uncomfortable, that's all I needed to hear, right? My daughter's just uncomfortable. You people better fix it, right? Make an accommodation. Do whatever you have to do. But then everyone took that whole narrative and they went on their own play, and they're like, oh, we're gonna no boys in the girls' bathroom. They try to run school board races on one issue, and it's an 80-20 issue. I mean, I was telling our school board candidates, I'm like, hey, why don't you talk about protecting our home values, right? How do you talk about keeping property tax values down? Because 74% of your property bill is school board taxes. Why don't you talk
Amen.
about, right? Why don't you talk about, hey, you know what? Whatever's wrong with your kid, if they're dyslexic, if they have a learning disability, if they have autism, or if they're, transgender or whatever it is, we're going to find a way to make sure every kid gets the support and help they need. Like this crap they pulled in Palatine where they're like, hey, we have a couple kids that have nut allergies, so we're getting rid of Halloween. We're not getting rid of all of it. Like, if my son is epileptic, right? So when he goes swimming in Palatine High School, they have to have somebody in the stands watching him because if he has a seizure, he's going to drown, right? Well, we didn't get rid of the whole pool because Connor's epileptic. This is the kind of nonsense that people are talking about, right? And so if we start getting competent human beings funded by great people from Lake Forest, we can start turning the tide and making some challenges.
Hey, for the record, my home precinct, which is basically the Middle Fork subdivision, went big time for Donald Trump. He won it by, I think, 99 votes, and all the Republican candidates down the
Yeah.
ballot did very well. Now he lost Lake Forest, but Our friend Mary Cole won Lake Forest, and and
Right.
some other local Republicans have done well. So it's not a lost cause in Lake Forest by any stretch of the imagination. Lake Forest is not
Oh,
Highland Park. I refer to Highland Park as the People's Republic of Highland Park.
like Evanston.
The Democrats could literally nominate Adolf Hitler, and he'd still win Highland Park. I mean, and I hate
Oh,
to say
that'll
that
make
because
Lake County Gazette.
Yeah, that's definitely you just got us pressed on that. No,
I
I
mean,
was just
that's the scary part is they so blindly vote for whoever's got the D next to their name that they don't even think this out. I mean, look at the I mean, this isn't really Democrats in Israel. Look at how they've turned their back on Israel, yet unfortunately there's still many Jewish voters that still vote Democrat. But though the numbers have changed for the better, so that's good. Aaron, we talked about we've been
you need to
dancing
take
around
Lake
this.
Forest and make it Naples, Florida, right? We were down in Naples, Florida last week. I was taking my kids. We went all around on the pontoon boat. My kids are like, "Look at Dad, all these boats. They all have Trump flags." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because they don't have a federal program for boats, right? These are all our true Republicans.
And
That's what we need to start doing in Illinois."
We often refer to Naples as Lake Forest South because there's a lot of Lake Foresters down there.
That's right.
But we've been dancing around this issue, but I got to ask the question, and maybe we can
Sure.
break news here on the Lake Forest podcast. Are you
Okay.
running for something in 2026?
I mean, I'm evaluating a run to run for governor of Illinois. I
Oh,
looked at yes, I looked at. I mean, I haven't made a final decision yet. I'm trying to get a meeting through the gatekeepers. They've been blocking and tackling me out up in Lake Forest. I can't even get through into the city limits because they don't want to have me anywhere near Dick Uihlein, right?
Mr. Uihlein, Mrs. Uihlein, please talk to Aaron.
Yeah, if you're
He's
watching
on
and
the same
listening,
page with you
your
on so many issues.
The
your
pride of
gatekeepers,
Pleasant
Mr.
Prairie,
Uihlein
Wisconsin.
and Mrs. Uihlein, your gatekeepers are blocking me out and saying nasty stuff so we don't chat. But I'd love to talk to you. Your people know how to get a hold of mine.
Why are
But
they
yeah,
doing that, Aaron? You run
because
for
I'm not going to
governor.
let them extract 30% of the ad budget to put in their pocket so they can go build a house in Naples like Dan Proft did, right? Dan Proft ran, Darren Bailey's race,
Oh,
right? I mean, call it what it is. Ask Dan Proft how much he made from that race. He made over $3 million from that race. There's no question
Oh, for
about it,
Darren
right?
Bailey? Yeah.
Yeah, for Darren Bailey. He didn't care about if Darren won or not because he lives in Naples. He wanted to get his $3 million, took his money, and went to Naples.
wait,
And
hold
people are like,
on.
oh my
Dan,
God,
How did he get three? Come on, you
he
guys are
was a
talking inside baseball, and then you got me
you
and Jeff.
you want me to tell you how they do it? I'll tell you how
Yeah.
they do it. So what they do is they create all the different packs, right? And each of the packs, they say, okay, hey, we're going to do a mailers. We're going to do these widespread mailers. And the mail house says, okay, these mailers are going to be 40 cents a piece. We're going to mail it out to 100,000, 200,000 homes. And then we're going to give you a 50% kickback on the back end. And that's how they funnel one way of it out. The other way of it is they create all these different 501c3s, 501c4s, pack groups, and then they do all of their vendors are owned by the consultant. So if you have an accountant, he does all of it. He does the accounting for $20,000, and then they upcharge it, to make another $40,000, bill each of the packs, and they extract the money out that way. And nobody's ever watching how they actually spend any of this money. So if they do TV ads, that's why they want to be up on TV. They want to do cable. They'll spend $2-3 million on cable, then they'll get 600,000 back on the back end, right, in the form of a dividend back from the group. So if I'll give you an example, easier, Pete. You sell television ads.
Yeah.
I go to you and I say, hey, I got a candidate, you know what I mean, who wants to run. I want to run a $8 million television run. You're like, okay. So which group are you doing it? I'm saying it's Political Strategies LLC, just a makeup company.
Yeah.
You will then go do the ads. You'll say, okay, this is how much it's going to cost to record it. This is how much we're going to put you on. We're going to put you on WGN. We're going to put you on ABC, channel 5, 6, whatever number you want. And then I'm like, all right, here's $8 million. And then you're going to turn around and you're going to give me 240,000 of it back, or 2.4 million, depending on what percentage of your 1 point or 3 points or whatever it is. And that money goes back to my LLC. So the PAC pays you, then you take some of it, you kick some of it back, this happens all the time. It's not illegal, right?
Yeah.
But that's why they're out recruiting candidates. Like if you look at who Dick Uihlein's people are trying to recruit right now, I mean, he's a nice enough guy. I like him. He's the professor. They're trying to put 15 million behind him. In a Republican primary where you have James Medrick, who's got $120,000, why would they put 15 million immediately in a primary? Because if they don't put enough volume behind it, they're not going to be able to extract a high enough money to make it worth it. If you put $1 million, you can't steal 300,000 without anybody seeing it. If you put 15 million into it, you can steal a couple million without anybody tracking it. And you can just follow the numbers.
So Proft,
So you're
wait, hold on. Is Proft a
Oh, yeah.
consultant or a podcaster?
Dude, he's both. First of all, Pop doesn't have he doesn't have a radio show unless Dick Uihlein's paying for the ads that keeps him on, right? Like, you think that Prop gets it because there's enough people in Chicago listening to him in the morning? No, he's doing an ad split. If he's not selling ads and he's selling aftershave or whatever the hell, or boxes for Uihlein or whatever he's schlepping, he doesn't get any money. So he's got to go out there and he's got to sell these people. Hey, buy a radio ad for me on AM 560 that 4 people listen to, right? And we just got rid of the one person, Amy Jacobson, that people actually liked. But listen to me. Even though I live in Naples and I'm recording out of my basement, I don't even live in Chicago, but I'm recording over here and playing it and re-record.
Yeah, I got to do that.
Live here. Yeah, it's a grift, right? And then Jeannie Ives. Oh, we love Jeannie. She's a strong conservative. Jeannie Ives gets her money from Breakthrough Ideas. She makes $140,000 a year. You can see on there. She gets 100% of her funding from Dick Uihlein, right? So she can go from, crusade to crusade to crusade, throwing rocks at Republicans that aren't conservative enough, or, work with the Democrats, or blah, blah, blah. Right. You could see where all the money comes from. I mean, it's not a secret, and it's not illegal. It's unethical, I think, and I don't think it's fair play, but it is the state of where it is.
So
this is though where the exhaustion comes, though, to be honest with all you guys, is like, people under 40 hear this, right?
Yeah.
And they don't want to play.
The money back and forth. And that's why your mindset.
But the candidate,
no
Aaron,
one
the
cares
candidate.
about me. Why do I care about left, right, middle? Like, I mean, it's just
Right.
it's a big money grab, and it's just exhausting. I mean, it's I don't know. I think it needs to get back to, and the other issue I will say with younger generation. I mean, I work with them all day. Is there's a lot of things on the Republican Party in that socially that these younger people just don't share the same values. Like, I think people want lower taxes.
Well, they will when they grow up. You're young now.
Yeah,
you're
but
19 or
I'm
20.
saying,
Right?
We need their
You've
vote
never had a
now,
kid.
Jeff.
I mean,
Jeff, what are the issues? Hold on. What are the issues with the young kids right now?
Well,
Abortion,
first
or
of all,
what's the-
I mean, I think the biggest one is ICE and all that. I mean, I think everyone agrees that criminals. When I say criminals, I mean people that committed felonies of harm to a person should be gone or locked up. Everyone agrees on that. I don't know a person that says I want criminals walking around. But
J.B.
Reinhardt.
Right.
Yeah, but maybe I don't know. Like
Joe Biden, Kamala
but at the end
Harris.
of the day, it's like, I mean, this country's had a, I'm
No. It's a marketing issue to the young
Catholic
kids. Keep
history.
going, Jeff. They're saying that all these people are getting deported, but they're not understanding that they are criminals by being here illegally. Number
Yeah,
one.
but
That's
so
the
Pete,
issue.
when you say that though,
Yeah, they look at
this is the
being here
disconnection.
illegally as
That's-
like the prohibition, right? During the prohibition, people drank. They're like, it's a crime to drink alcohol, but we don't really think it's a crime. It shouldn't be a crime, so we're going to do it anyways, right?
Polish
That's the same way
came
that
here
people.
illegally, Italians
Right.
came here illegally, Irish came here. I mean, you could go back all the way down.
Right.
Yeah, but they came in an organized way, even going as bad as Ellis Island was. At least things were getting recorded.
You
Okay,
still, but
well,
Pete, at the end of the day, you can never, and I've said this once before, you can't blame the person that came here. Like, I don't, right? If I was in a crappy situation in another country, I don't care about the law. I'm going to do what I have to do to feed my family. At the end of the day, I mean, whatever, right, wrong.
Right.
It's the policies that politicians make to. Let's be honest. That door was wide open to get cheap labor in this country. I mean, that's how
Right.
they did, and now they reset it. I mean,
And it was the Republicans doing it. It was going
Yeah.
back to
They
Reagan.
wanted
I
more
love
people
Ronald
that
Reagan.
look like me. I get it.
But-
I want to
but-
be surrounded
but
by
at the
people
end
that
of the
look like
day,
me too.
and that's the difference, right? So these younger people are hearing like this war on a group of people that they're friends with, that they live around, that they know, and that's where that hey, I've always said, like, Democrats think Republicans are evil and Republicans think Democrats are stupid, right? That's been like the joke forever. It's just like, but I really think if in Illinois, at least, and it goes just as bad on Democrats. Like, I mean, they're far left, and I think Republicans are too far right. People got to get back to the middle, and they got to earn people's votes,
Yeah,
especially.
but the problem is the middle doesn't donate and the middle doesn't vote.
That's the
your problem, right?
Well,
Because if you want to
it's
give
all
money,
about
you got
the
to be
money.
a far right or far left, right? Because normal people like Pete
That's the
or
disconnect.
you know what I mean, or Jeff are like, hey, look, I got a bar. I'm trying to make money over here. I'm in the business of selling fried wings and beer, and I don't want to get involved in this because I don't want to have a negative effect on my building. I mean, think about this. If you went and hung a MAGA flag out front, right, or decked the whole side of your bar, right? You're nonpartisan. You take everybody's money, like you said earlier, and I think that's really smart. But if you went and did that, you'd get half as many people, and then you'd be on Facebook. You know what I mean? People would be harassing you on Facebook, trying to ban you
And,
and
and it'd
cancel
be
you.
the same the other way.
If you had Kamala Harris out,
Biden flag, there'd be people. So I think going. First of all, I think anyone that like blood or Crip themselves saying, "Hey, I am left, I am right." I always think, well, you're just not open-minded then, because both sides have issues that people, I think, can agree a little bit on. You can't say every issue on the right is an issue you 100% agree on. Maybe you do specifically, but I don't know. I don't.
I guess what I'm saying, guys, is it's a marketing issue, my 2 cents, because you all asked me my opinion, and I'm telling you, I think it's a marketing issue, and I think we're getting caught in the weeds of this inside baseball and this money thing, when at the end of the day, we just need Republicans to register and vote and go out. That's all we need.
And get on the permanent absentee.
The reason we talk about the inside baseball is because we need to be taking and pulling the curtain back. Because you're over here talking about, think about volume for a second, Pete, right? You're like, we're going to register people to vote. You go out and get 50 people to vote, right? Joe gets 50 people to vote, right? Jeff gets 50 people, I get people to vote. There's 200 voters. You haven't even moved a city council election, my friend, right? It's not enough volume to be able to actually get wins. If you want to, you know what I mean? If you want to win in Illinois, you got to move, 1.2 million votes. How are you going to do that, right? Door to door, hand-to-hand combat?
Hey, Mr. Cook County Republican guy, how much money did you guys spend on getting the vote out?
How much do we spend in which cycle? Each cycle is different.
I'm just saying, what do you spend to get?
Right, in the last cycle, in 2022, they spent $15 million getting the vote out in Illinois, which wasn't nearly enough, right? If you look at 2022, I ran for lieutenant governor with Gary Rabine in that primary. In the Republican primary in blue Illinois, $125 million was spent. Just in the Republican primary, between Ken Griffin dropping $55 million, Dick Uihlein dropping 50, Jesse Sullivan having 15, Gary Rabine having 4, and then J.B. Pritzker, your governor, giving $30 million to the Democratic Governors Association, which then used that money to support Bailey, right? Bailey had just as much money as Richard Irving did, right? And he handpicked his own candidate for the general election.
I know. He's
right.
Darren Bailey. Darren Bailey
is.
I've said this, and Darren. I've met Darren a number of times, as I'm sure you have. He's a nice guy, but he should stick to. Well, he couldn't even win in Southern Illinois. He lost down there for congressman.
But he's a horrible politician.
Pritzker rigged that primary so that he would have the easiest nominee to run against. I mean, if your friend and mine, Gary Rabine, had won that primary, Pritzker would have had to work.
That's why the rest of us didn't get the $30 million. They gave it to the guy. You know what I mean? They thought they knew that they could compete against. If they, I know you were with Richard Irving, right? Like him, I like Richard. He was a nice enough guy. I mean, I had some challenges with his voting record, but he was right there. He polled 5 points ahead of Pritzker, right? But
I mean, he had flaws. I didn't know. I think that whole issue at the dispensary with his girlfriend, nobody knew about that. Well, somebody knew about it, obviously, but that was a bad thing and stuff. But I think having an
that's what I'm saying. Nobody fucking cares. Nobody.
You should care. You should care.
We should.
But Pete, this is why people win and you don't.
You know what? If your people in Lake Forest knew that J.B. Pritzker spent $30 million in the Republican primary, they'd be disgusted. But nobody picks up on it, right? He's fiddling around in the other playground, right? Like he's getting out of his lane. He's manipulating the electoral system.
Aaron, I honestly think that most people don't care. I mean, and I know right or wrong, but I think it's just, and that is the problem. And I hope both parties don't do that. This race is just really just focus like on that middle ground, because
these kids are graduating at Lake Forest High School. How do we get the 18-year-olds? How do we get the 18-year-olds to vote?
18-year-olds to vote.
Give them a pathway to buy a house and get affordable living.
Well, you want and listen, here you hit it right on the head there, my friend. If you want to give these kids a path to a house, right?
Yeah.
Everybody in your generation, you're a little bit younger than me. We're saying, hey, learn how to code, learn how to code, learn how to code. I got news for you. AI is coming for coders.
GPT.
Okay. Nobody. Yeah. ChatGPT, they're coming from. You know what they're
That all
not
the
coming
union
from?
halls are empty.
They're
dude.
not coming from accountants. They're not coming from plumbers. They're not coming from electricians,
Yeah.
pipe fitters. I pay my electrician $115 an hour.
Union
to put
carpenters
this
with their
together.
benefits make $150,000 a year.
Yeah, that's where you need to go.
I was a union carpenter for Pepper. I try to get my kid in the union. The problem is their generation thinks different. Now I know a lot of young guys working these union jobs, but most of them are south suburb Chicago, not North Shore. Problem is that North Shore schools, they're beat into the head. You got to go to college. You got to get this degree. You got to do this.
But they got to come up here to the North Shore when somebody remodels their house or builds a new house.
Right.
Well, I mean, if you guys ever come to Duffers, you'll see a lot of, young people.
I'll be there August 19th.
Mid-20s. They all have bachelor degrees, but they're making, some of them are making six figures doing this because they don't want to take a $40,000 a year level entry job.
Yeah, I get it.
So, Aaron, if you do run for governor,
right,
tell the average voter that's watching this show, if there is such a thing,
Me and Jeff,
why you instead of JB Pritzker?
Well, I first think that if I decide to run, if I pull the trigger, you better buckle up, sweetheart, right? Because we're going to have a ride. It's not going to be, this is how I speak. This is a public podcast. This is how I speak in person, right? I call balls and strikes, and I'm very direct and to the point. And hopefully people like it. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, that's okay too. We don't need all the votes. We just need more than the other guy. Why me versus JB Pritzker? I think that a lot of people should understand that we've had our last two governors out of the billionaire class, and look how well that served us. It hasn't. I think that they need to stop worrying about purity tests within Republicans and Democrats and start getting somebody that represents the people that grew up in the suburbs, that was from the city of Chicago, and that his parents moved him out so I could have the ability to read, because you can't get an education in Chicago and you got to go to the suburbs. Somebody that understands what it's like being in a house that's double taxed by having your regular property tax in the city of Chicago and then having to pay for private school. Somebody that understands that Illinois, whoever's the governor, has to govern the whole state, not just Chicago. That you need to be caring about Vandalia, you need to care about Springfield, you need to be caring about Hardin County, you need to be caring about all the different areas that that nobody gives any kind of representation to. That they understand that Chicago, once you step out of it, we're an agriculture state, and we're the people that put food on people's tables and represent that. I think that we need to find some people that actually have lived a life that is comparable to everyone else. I'm divorced. There was 60% of the population. I know what that's like. I know what that litigation is like. You know what I mean? I can see the policies that we set in Springfield and how they're going to affect somebody real life. When you raise taxes and you put pressure on municipalities and they withdraw services, when with stupid stuff like the grocery tax, which is collected by the state and given back to the municipalities, when they get rid of it, you left a hole in all of these municipalities' budgets. Right? When you just signed a pension bill for police and fire, that were supposed to be tier 2, that were designed to lower the levy on all these different municipalities on their budgets. He just doubled the pension debt for city of Chicago with one stroke of the pen. I mean, he just doesn't care. He either that or doesn't understand what his policies are doing to the average day Illinoisan, because he's never lived that.
He doubled in Pritzker's term. He has doubled the Illinois gas tax, the state gas tax. And then here in Lake County, Sandy Hart created a Lake County gas tax, because back in the old days, when I lived in Cook County and you still live in Cook County, we used to drive up to Lake County to buy our gas because it was cheaper, because they didn't have the tax. No more, thanks to Sandy Hart. But would you do something about the gas tax if you were governor?
I would do the gas tax. Here's why. This is the thing that pisses me off the most about JB Pritzker and Brandon Johnson and all the Democrats. They keep talking about how they want to protect the most vulnerable in Illinois. We want to protect the most vulnerable. We want to make sure that the rich people pay their fair share and all this nonsense, right? But every tax that they're doing is a regressive tax. The gasoline tax is a regressive tax. I got news for you. Everybody in this podcast, if gas is $3 or gas is $6, I'm filling my tank. I'm filling it, right? I'm not coming back. But the people on the south and west side of Chicago are filling it to whatever they can get for $20, because that's all they actually got in their pocket, and they're moving along, right? And so when you increase those taxes, you're not hitting Aaron Delamar and Joe Weiss and Pete and Jeff. You're hitting the most vulnerable people. When you have a service tax, when you go get a haircut and it's $20 at Bo Rick's, and now it's going to be $24 because $4 is going to tax, I'm still getting a haircut.
And
right?
he just created, did I miss it?
Delivery tax, $1.50.
A delivery tax?
Do you know who does? Do you know what
Did that get passed,
nationalities? Yeah, it's $1.50 flat tax on every delivery. Guess what? 85% of the African American community and Hispanic community
I thought
are
it was a
utilizing the
percentage.
delivery app.
I thought it was a 1%.
It's $1.50 minimum or whatever percentage. It
So
can
if
go
I
higher.
get an Amazon delivery or a UPS delivery to my
$1.50.
house, that's
Minimum
insane.
$1.50.
That'll
Right.
hit the
insane.
Generation Z.
Yeah, yeah. No,
That's
and like you think your
horrible.
service tax, I'm telling you, the service tax is another. Your rental tax, the rental tax went into January 1st of 2025. You go to Home Depot to rent a carpet cleaner, right? You got another 10% tax on top of it. If you go and rub a tub grinder, if you go and rent, any kind of chipper, any kind of anything, there's an extra 10% tax, right? Look I got news for you. The four of us, we're not stub grinding. We're calling somebody, they're coming out and they're doing it. We're not renting a Home Depot. Again, they're going back to that same group. Right?
I'm going to tell you this story and feel free to use it on. I'm going to tell you this story and feel free to use it on the campaign trail. We were in Wisconsin for the weekend. Coming back, we stopped at the Costco in Pleasant Prairie to buy gas, and there was a line. Every single car in that line had an Illinois license plate.
Right. Of course.
In Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin.
Everyone in the Republican Party is talking about the border. The border we should be worried about is Ohio, Indiana, Wisconsin. The borders around Illinois, because not all of our people are fleeing, our business is doing. Ken Griffin, one of the richest guys in Illinois, just left. When he left and pays income tax no longer to the state of Illinois, it left a $24 million hole. Just him. One guy.
And by the way, I
doesn't
think
Wisconsin have a higher
those,
income tax than Illinois?
No, but Florida doesn't have one.
I know,
Period.
Florida,
Tennessee doesn't have one. He moved to Florida.
But
I think
Wisconsin's higher than Illinois, right?
all those Texas Democrats that Pritzker is housing here in Illinois, those Democratic state legislators, so they can't do their job in Texas, make them pay Illinois income tax, because Illinois has an income tax and Texas has a zero.
And they're going to change it to a progressive tax. Watch, it's coming back in the next cycle.
Aaron, here's something that Lake Forest soccer moms will care about is law and order. You're a Cook County guy. Kim Foxx is gone and the new state's attorney's in there. Has there been a new culture of what not to mess around with in Cook County?
Yeah, with the defunding of the budgets. I mean, it's funny too, because a lot of the North Shore groups are like, oh, we want to defund the police, so somebody breaks in your house, and then they want everybody to come in and save you. Yeah. Right. And I think that a lot of that hopefully is kind of dissipating, because I think people are starting to understand the value of public safety, and that these people are going out there and risking their lives. And, you know what I mean? At a regular traffic stop, they don't know if they're going to be shot or not, or they're just going to be able to give their ticket and move along the way. And people don't appreciate that level of risk, or that, the service that those people provide. And I think that, the Highland Park groups, Palatine people, Inverness, Barrington, I mean, all the, Hinsdale, wherever you want to go that have that, have those kind of dollars that have that excess of revenue. They want that public safety, but what about the rest of the state, right? You know what I mean? What about those other groups? It's always been NIMBY, right? Not in my backyard. I think that so many different groups need to be so thankful for what they have. And if I had some of the money that people like Boris do, I'd throw my money away. And they're the ones out there screaming and complaining that it's not fair and the system is rigged. You should be saying one thing, and it should be thank you. That's it. It aggravates me to no end. And you should be doing your part to try to lift the people on the southwest side of Chicago, not your people in Winnetka. You know what I mean? They're going to make it. They're okay, right? Right. Everybody else.
Hey, guys, help Noah out. Come on.
Yeah, right?
I'm just kidding.
Aaron, that's my one softball for you. How do people find out more information? I'm Gen Z. I just graduated high school, and I want to. Who am I voting for?
You can go on aarondelmar.com. You know what I mean? That's my website. I'm on social media. You can hit me up. If you're looking to get patted on the head and, you know what I mean, soft encouragement, don't reach out to me. This is what you get 24/7, right? If you're looking for like, oh, I want to be part of the city council, and I have looked under the Democrats say, don't even call me, because I'm just going to light you on fire. I'm going to be over at your house with gasoline and matches, right? I'm looking for hardcore, you know what I mean, pipe fitting people that want to get things done, that want to do the stuff that's not fancy or exciting, right? I want to get a bunch of hard hitters that play on the other side of the sandbox, and I want to get to work. And that's something that
if you really want to get, if you want to get to know Aaron even better, I got a place right here in town you can go to. It's Duffers. August 19th, that's a Tuesday evening at 6:30 p.m. Just go, you could just show up, but you may not get a piece of pizza then. But you go to shieldstownshipgop.com just so they get a head count. It's free, no charge. You get to meet Aaron in person and see what a cool guy he is.
And ask any questions you want. It's citrus-free alcohol. Let's run up that tab so Shield Townships can make their part, right? And do their part to make sure Lake Forest stays purple. Right?
Jeff's going to have to borrow some kegs from the land down the street.
Hey, spend away, boys.
Right.
Spend away.
All right, Aaron, nice duking
Thanks,
it out
Aaron.
with you, my friend.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Fight,
Hope
fight,
I don't-
fight.
Good luck to you.
That-
Governor
that's exactly
Delmar.
right, baby. Fight, fight,
Governor
fight.
Delmar. I love it.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right,
Take care.
guys, later. The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit laracycpa.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, JM, and Paul G.